Background: my grandparents have always been a big part of my life, as have the rest of my family. They had 5 children, including my father, and 13 grandchildren, 6 great-grandchildren. My grandparents are quite rich. They had 3 businesses until last year when my grandfather died. I am the child of my grandchildren and have always been very close to them. My grandma used to babysit me until I could go to kindergarten. I wrap Christmas presents for her every year. I decorate their house, and I worked at their bar on Fridays in college, no pay, as they are too old to do these things themselves. All this was offered to my cousins, but they never helped. My grandparents ran a show horse farm for over 40 years. It was what my father took with him and I quickly began to love. I used to go every weekend with my grandma up until high school when I started studying. Even though I don't ride horses anymore, my dad and I go to clean the stalls and look after the horses every week when my grandparents are away on trips. Usually once every 2 months. My grandparents were a huge part of my life. Problem: my grandmother died 4 weeks ago. It was devastating. My grandmother left my aunts, uncles, and dad about $85,000 each. Money for which she and my grandfather worked very, very hard. It was expected. What was not expected was that they would leave me just over $45,000 along with some other valuables. I was honestly shocked. All my cousins received about $2,000 each and a few trinkets. Obviously you can see where it was going. My aunts and uncles were at the reading when I was told, so they told their children. Everyone except the parents is furious. My cousins, who are already adults, demand that I divide them equally. I don't feel like I should. I was very close to my grandparents and did a lot for them, but it's hard. My family is very tight-knit and we have holidays / monthly parties / dinners / etc. together, every year. I never expected money to tear us apart. This money can change a lot for me. I could pay off my $10,000 student loan and put the rest into my upcoming wedding / future kids / savings account. A small part of me wants to share it equally, just to have everyone together. But there was a reason they left this to me. They didn't do it to hurt anyone. I was the only one who visited them and helped them. None of them took the time to see them, except for family gatherings. But no one understands this except my parents. It seems to me that I alone destroy the family. My aunts and uncles won't talk to my father until I split the money, and my cousins won't talk to me. I only have a student loan and a car payment, so I don't have much debt, but it could give me a comfortable future. They all keep throwing in my face that they have families, house payments, college to pay for, etc. They keep saying I've been planning this for a long time, but I really didn't. I loved my grandparents. My fiancé tells me to forget about them and do what's best for me, but I'm a big family man. I don't want to split the money, that could really help me, but I feel like they can play with me, forcing me to choose between them and this. My parents also want me to keep the money for myself, as they think my family members are being ridiculous in demanding it. Is it right for me to keep that much? I feel like I deserve it. Is it right for me to put this money on my family? Or are the people I've been so close to all my life taking advantage of me? $45,000 versus $2,000 is a huge difference. PS, there is more in the will than I explained. Houses, classic cars, horses, farm, land, CDs, etc. The cashback / checking accounts I was given is the only thing that seems to be a problem for everyone. I have inherited more money than my cousins. They demand that I divide it equally between them or never speak to them again. My friend came to me yesterday at lunch with screenshots of my boyfriend's Tinder profile. The pictures were all old photos, so I confronted him immediately, expecting to hear something like,
"Yeah."
I forgot to delete that. Which is cool. He denied being on Tinder at all, and my friend suggested that she make an account, set it to his specifications, and see if he turns up. And there's his profile. So, this means that my boyfriend has been active on Tinder within the past 2 weeks. I confronted him with this and he changed his story. Now he's saying that his friend has been using his account. He shows me his phone and says, "Look, I have nothing to hide." And of course the app is deleted. So I take his phone, download Tinder, log in with his Facebook and see that he has been active, albeit infrequently. There was one girl that he tried to meet up with back in May when I was out of town. The girl gave him her phone number, and even though he deleted whatever messages they exchanged, I still saw that he had her saved in his contacts. So that's about everything that I know. He either cheated on me or planned on cheating on me while I went out of town, and I'm sure this isn't the only time it's happened. This relationship is pretty much over. He is swearing up and down that it's not true. He doesn't use Tinder and he doesn't know this girl. I'm going crazy with how much he's outright lying. He seems so sincere, but I know what I saw. I can't listen to him deny this one more time. This blew up while I was away. I'm sorry I won't be able to respond to every comment. So I did some stuff that was kind of petty and stupid today. I made a fake Tinder account, matched with my boyfriend. And he starts messaging me and immediately asks me to meet him for a drink. We agree to meet by a fountain in the center of my town, and I pack up all of his stuff in a tote bag, put on a great outfit and went to the fountain. I stood kind of out of the way of the fountain in the shadows where I could watch the street that I knew he'd be arriving from. I was devastated, but I figured this way I could catch him without a doubt and end things quickly. All the time, he's messaging this girl on Tinder. But he didn't show up. 2 of his roommates did. We didn't speak, I don't know them well, but they watched me for a while. Figured out what was going on after a few more Tinder messages, and left quickly. So I wait a few minutes and I call my boyfriend and ask him where he's at. He says he's just gotten off of work and he's going to meet his roommate for a drink. I confront him with the fake Tinder profile and he's dumbstruck and furious with his roommate, who he swears up and down is behind all of this. I'm at home now, just emotionally exhausted and confused. Whatever is going on with his roommates is super sketchy and creepy. Up until this point my boyfriend and I had a great relationship. Really, no red flags anywhere. If I had already been suspicious that he was cheating, this would be a much easier break for me. The most recent message on his Tinder account, when I checked it yesterday, was sent to a girl he had matched with before we met. It said, "Would you want to meet up with my friend?" My boyfriend is the kind of person whose iPhone passcode is 0000. I wouldn't be surprised if his roommates did know all of his passwords. So, his Tinder account is still matched with my fake profile. To me, that indicates that he probably isn't the person operating the Tinder profile. If it were him, wouldn't he have blocked the fake profile immediately? A lot of people have said that he probably sent his roommates to check things out for him. I can't write that off entirely, but my gut says that it isn't true. I just don't think it's very likely. When it comes to his roommates, I'm very concerned that they have been using his profile to trick women into meeting with them. The fact that his profile hasn't been deleted makes me worry that my boyfriend is in on this. So that's about where I'm at right now. I'm worried that all of them are working together to, at best, scam women, at worst, assault them, and my boyfriend is at least passively involved. Either way, I feel some responsibility to do a little more digging. I am a gemologist. I spend my days in the lab testing and identifying stones. From the nature of my work, I also have a large and valuable collection of jewelry, but also gem specimens, that I keep in a safe I specifically bought and had installed to keep them safe. I also have a second smaller safe for keeping important documents like passports. I own my home, and my boyfriend of 2 years recently moved in as he was renting before. I gave him the code to the smaller safe so he could put valuables in it, but he also wants the code for my gem safe. Not to put anything in it, but he says because we are living together now I should trust him and give him the code. I've said no because he has no reason to open the safe, as the only thing it's used for is storing my collection. He said he has no interest in my gem collection, doesn't want to look at them, but still wants the code to access them. This is causing tension because he says I should give it to him as a show of trust, and I said no, because he literally has no reason to go in there, so he doesn't need the code. This is a 6-figure collection, so I'm not being difficult over a few little gems here. I am the only one who knows the code. The safe weighs nearly half a ton, it's bolted to the floor and wall, and is from a company who makes safes, vaults and strong rooms for jewelers. You could bring the house down around it and it would still be intact. All of the gems and jewelry in the safe are mine and mine alone. I do not keep any clients' jewelry at home. For my other business doing valuations, I rent a separate space and keep client items there. I will give an update once things have panned out. I've moved all of my personal docs out of the little safe and into my gem safe. I told him he isn't getting the code and I will die on this hill. He has no reason to have it, and his continued lack of respect by the pushing of my boundaries wasn't okay. I felt like he was trying to manipulate me by making it about trust. After a lot of back and forth, he finally admitted that he wanted access to the safe, because he didn't feel like I was sharing the whole house with him. Because I insisted on a tenancy agreement rather than just letting him move in. And he didn't like that part of where he lived was off limits to him. He was also insecure and resented that I have more money than him and own a home whilst he doesn't. He had made a few comments about this before, but I didn't realize it was such a big issue for him. He also said that by keeping him out of the safe made him feel like I thought he was lesser than me, and that it made him feel like I was treating him like a child. I told him if that's how he feels, then this is not the right relationship for either of us, and that it was best we break up. He was shocked that I was ending things over this, cried and asked me to reconsider. When I said no, he then got angry. Called me a stuck-up B*TCH, said he was better off without me anyway, and went to his friends. I told him via text he had 30 days before he had to leave, as per the tenancy agreement. So he didn't need to stay at a friend's. He said he would be gone by the end of the week. 2 days later he came back and packed up all of his stuff and left. He's staying with his friend now. I have changed all the locks. I have an alarm and CCTV system that's professionally monitored, and I have changed the verbal password I have to give when you call up as a precaution. I've checked all of my collection and it hasn't been touched. I also am giving my solicitor the code and safe deposit details to be passed to my executor in the event of my death. I feel horrible because despite all of this I love him. I should have a partner who not only respects my boundaries but takes an interest. I'm pretty cut up right now and missing him, but I know I'll be okay. I have great friends and family around me. Also, diamonds are a girl's best friend, and I have a few knocking around to help cheer me up. 8 years ago, my sister got pregnant. The father wasn't involved and my sister didn't want the baby. But she also couldn't bring herself to terminate or adopt out to strangers. She approached me and my now ex-husband and asked if we would be willing to adopt her child. We weren't sure as we were concerned this would lead to issues down the line, but my sister insisted that it wouldn't, so we ultimately agreed. Before Lucy was a year old, my husband left us both because my sister lied about Lucy's father. When Lucy was 4, I got together with my wife, and we married last year. My sister has said that seeing me and my wife with Lucy, who is now 7, confirms to her that she made the right decision. When I first adopted Lucy, my husband and I told my sister that we wanted multiple children, which she said she was fine with at the time, but now my wife and I are looking into our options and my sister objects. My sister has been staying with us since July because her boyfriend kicked her out. She keeps asking Lucy if she's sure she wants siblings. Lucy has said that she does, and telling us she's worried we won't be able to give Lucy what she needs, and then today happened. We had an online consultation with a fertility clinic to talk about sperm donation. We told my sister about it and asked her to keep an eye on Lucy while we talked. The Wi-Fi went randomly on and off 3 times during the session, booting us out of the call each time. The 3rd time, my wife went to check it and saw my sister holding the power cord, and Lucy trying to plug it back in. Lucy saw my wife and said, "Auntie keeps turning the Wi-Fi off." Wife plugged it back in. But we could no longer get into the session, and we got an email from the doctor saying that if the Wi-Fi is going to be this bad, then maybe we should try a more local clinic, as we can't do online consultations. When we confronted my sister, she admitted that she wants Lucy to be an only child so she has 100% of our undivided attention, and then said in a sarcastic tone, "Forgive me for only wanting what's best for my daughter." To which we responded that Lucy isn't her daughter. Things escalated until I said that my sister should go stay with our parents, and my wife drove her to their place. Since leaving a few hours ago, she's apologized and begged to come back, and my parents have also asked me to take her back. But I've refused. They've all called me an arsehole for kicking my own sister out after one argument, because now she's unable to get to work. No car and too far to walk, and she's back in her childhood room while at our place she had a studio to herself behind the house.